Welcome to episode 145 of the Guardian 1 podcast, recorded August 17th, 2017, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I'm joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Are the leaks true?
And Gray.
Good evening, everybody.
We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening to the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Budgie.net forums group. We utilize the forums for both comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the live show, you can always find the podcast on iTunes, as well as upload it to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all of the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include Ghosts and Echoes, a podcast that contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards, as well as the Destiny lore-focused podcast called Focus Fire Chat. Once again, thanks for joining us on the podcast. I'll see you again next week.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, it is official. I'm done with Destiny. I am so done with Destiny, and I can tell because this last week, the only time that I picked up Destiny at all was to pick up my boxes, like I've been talking about, and I just couldn't even muster getting all of them. I got one on each system. I like to knock out the strike first. It's just the least stressful of the activities. Sometimes single player, some of those missions are hard. When it's regicide, I don't even bother with it. It's not worth a box to me. And it's not worth calling in backup. Hey, anybody want to play this game that no one wants to play with me so I can get a box that I'm not going to open for gear that I don't have room for? It doesn't make any sense. And then Crucible, I do a million times better after I've played a couple of games of PvP, just kind of rerouting my brain to my hands, to my eyes, to the screen. I do so much better, and I couldn't even get to the Crucible. I mean, all I really have to do is survive the match, and I'll get a box, and I just couldn't even do it. It would take some brand new missions with some brand new story and maybe even some new gear in order for me to be interested in coming back in. Now, this is putting aside, again, like Gray's mentioned a bunch of times, the social interactions. If all of my friends were hanging out there and they said, hey, Remy, why don't you come hang out with us? I would way be interested in it. I've got a bunch of great gear on all of my characters on both systems, so it's not like I have to go searching for anything. So it would have to be that interaction. It would have to be new. It'd have to be new content, or hanging out with my friends, or getting together a raid group and making it so that we gel together for the upcoming Destiny 2 raid at some point, whenever that drops. So I've been playing No Man's Sky. That's what I've been doing. I just can't even imagine playing one more second of Destiny. And what's funny about all of this to me, is that I still love talking about it. I still love thinking about it. I'm all the time thinking about Destiny. I'm all the time wanting to talk about Destiny. So it's an interesting dissonance in my brain, because the idea that I would start playing it right now, it just drives me nuts. So definitely not going to go there. Gray, are you as done with Destiny as I am beyond the social aspect? And what have you been playing, if so?
Yeah, I'm trying to be, except Mark Square keeps planning these raids, and I enjoy playing with that group of people too much. But it's not because I enjoy the game, right? I'm at a point in the life cycle of the game where it's all right, but a lot of what I really enjoy from the mechanics and from the loot that you get, the story, it's run its course, and it lasted way longer than any game I would have imagined. But with all the news that's coming out about Destiny 2, everything that's on the horizon, it makes this time that much more painful to go into Destiny 1 knowing that something, by all accounts, it's going to be far superior, is going to be coming down, down the pipeline. So we're jumping in. We're doing a few raids. We did Crota Tuesday night, which was a lot of fun. For the Grenades and Horseshoes show, we ran our favorite story mission, our favorite strike, and our favorite patrol area. So I've actually been in the game more this past week than I have probably for the last month or so, just because we've been doing those types of activities. And then we're going to do another raid tomorrow night. But I'm really bridging this gap. I've been playing No Man's Sky as well. I've been streaming that a bit on my channel. It's been a lot of fun. The updates to the game have been fantastic. And what a perfect time for them to launch the Atlas Rising update right now, when we've got a pretty good window of a few weeks to experience it before each of us are going to be diving into Destiny 2, head first. Today we streamed Horizon Zero Dawn because I hadn't finished that yet. Jumping back into it, learning the mechanics. Man, what a beautiful game too. Just the world so rich, looked very good. Played it a little bit with Mark too. We both were streaming, doing a simultaneous stream. We're in different parts of the game, and that's one thing that's a little bit rough with both No Man's Sky and Horizon Zero Dawn. They just don't play well as multiplayer games. We try our best, and hopefully No Man's Sky is going to continue to work on their co-op exploring. But I don't know. You said that you've been playing No Man's Sky. Have you been able to run into other players and interact with them?
I have not seen anyone else. And actually, I had a question for you now that you bring this up. I'm curious to know, number one, how long have you been playing it?
No Man's Sky? I probably have I would say maybe 12, 13 hours into it.
Okay, so it's still pretty young for you as far as the there's a lot of time exploring, there's a lot of time moving around space. So I have not seen another person, but I have run into an area where I have discovered a planet and I've discovered a species, but I didn't stop to name it or upload that data, and somebody else uploaded that data. And so what I was curious to know is if there are similar, or I guess actually the exact same fauna on one planet and maybe to another, because I don't know that anyone has really come through my solar system yet, but somebody did upload data to one of the creatures that I found.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's taken up, it shows up instead of a blue dot, a blue filled in dot, it's like a red filled in dot. And so I can imagine, life springing up exactly the same in two different parts of this universe, but it's
right.
I don't know.
I've run into having the messages that you can leave for people. Have you seen those?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've actually seen quite a few of those in some of the sectors that I've been exploring. And I mean, they're kind of annoying because at first I didn't know what they were. And I'm like, oh, there's this cool, communication thing that I have to go find, and maybe it'll have some reward at the end of it. And no, it was just some player being like, hey, Gray was here and left it.
That's interesting. And you're right. Neither one of those titles really lends themselves to be too great of multiplayer titles. Horizon Zero Dawn, I have not finished that either. I have just gotten to the part where those giant birds are in the sky, and I did just sneak around so that I can get on top of each of those Star Trek Enterprise faced tall necks.
Right.
So I'm a little bit less interested in defeating that and finishing it because I'm really enjoying the world. And this is something that I do with books. This is something that I do with video games where I don't want to finish it, and then so I just walk away from it, and then it will never be finished. It's just this ongoing thing, and that's a really horrible thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But both of those are really exciting, and definitely something great to fill the gap in this Destiny lull. What is that?
I was just going to say, the only other thing that I've done when you were talking about jumping into a book and kind of exploring the world, I read a book for the first time in probably a year, 2 years. Ready Player One, and it was incredible. It was awesome. So if you haven't read Ready Player One yet, I would highly recommend it. It was very good.
Excellent. Okay, let's see. Sharks, what about you? You are easily the person on our podcast that has played the most Destiny. Are you still playing Destiny? Are you moved on to other games? Are you still taking care of real life stuff so that when Destiny 2 hits, you can hit it as hard as possible?
Well, I've still not been playing as much video games as I want to, but I have been logging into Destiny, and it's been pissing me off. And I'm about ready to not log in, except for that I told my brother and my sister-in-law I would play with them, but the game is just making me mad because I have still not gotten an entire set from those damn boxes. And
oh man,
why am I doing it? I don't know. It's like I'm torturing myself, going in and playing it and thinking, oh, I'm going to get this just so I can get some stupid shader and so I can have my full set for one character. I don't know. That part's just making me mad, so it's making me not want to log in, but at the same time that I have that urge that I have to finish it. I have to do it. And of course I got my sister-in-law and my brother playing, so I've been playing a little bit.
Man, that is a hard draw to walk away from because, for me, I'm just looking for those boxes. But you actually have other people that are like, oh, you're like a real ninja in this world, and you have all of these answers. Like, it's all stored in your brain. It's going to be there until you die. And so you can make their experience so much better just by being there with them, especially what a great fire team that would be. So I'm glad that I don't have anybody. I'm glad I don't have anybody who's like, hey, we're seriously new to this world, and we'd like a tour. I can see the short timers in the little pixels that are your eyes, and I don't know. I'm glad that you have that draw because, that's really cool. Your brother and your sister-in-law are looking into this world. And Destiny, from the standpoint of what is essentially a $60 game now, the entire thing for $30, like it's a fantastic bundle of goodness. There's so much going on there, so much replay value. And so, I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not in your shoes. Except for your beard. I like your beard. I think that your beard would look pretty good on me. If you ever plan on shaving it, like shave it into one piece and send it to me, and I'll wear it like you did that Sharks thing last week. So are you playing anything else, or is it just you're either not playing because you have other things to do, or you're helping out your brother?
Well, okay. So, like I say, I have tons of video games that I could be playing, video games that I haven't finished and whatnot. And today I actually finally logged into The Last of Us, which I've been kind of like yearning to do it anyways, and I sat down and I'm loving it. It's great. It's great going in and playing a different game. I've said that before when I've started playing other games, and I really enjoy that kind of genre. It's kind of like for those people that haven't played it, it's kind of like a Drake's Fortune meets Resident Evil kind of thing, so I really, really enjoy games like that, and doing something different is fun. My fingers don't think so because I try to do one thing that I'm used to doing in Destiny, and it doesn't do that. But I am branching off to playing some different games. We've got 20 days, 19 days, something like that till Destiny 2 drops. So this is the time to go in and get caught up on games, because soon there's not going to be anything. You're going to have the blinders on.
Yeah, and the blinders are going to be real. It's going to be an insane grind. Like, I'm really doing my best right now to just keep my head down, away from a lot of the information and away from playing, just because I know that once it's here, it's all I'm going to do. Like when Destiny launched, even before Destiny launched, it was all I could think about. It was all that I wanted to do. And so and so I know that I want to save myself for that. But at the same time, stepping away from video games altogether isn't such a great idea, especially for people at our age where we need the refreshing of the hands. Like we need to keep our hands nice and loose for when we play these, 80 hours in a row or whatever it's going to be. Like there was a point in time when I was really, really sick where I didn't play for like a month. I didn't play anything for like a month. And when I picked up video games again, I was like, man, why are my hands feeling so weird? It's because I hadn't played in a while, use it or lose it. Basically what it comes down to. I have not played The Last of Us. It's something that I've always been waiting for to come down in price or go on sale, and I've never had the dollars for it, but it looks amazing. I want to see the story. Also, it's not something I can play in front of my kids, so it's, that is working against it. No Man's Sky is a lot more kid friendly, and that really some of these things that I saw from Last of Us looks like things I don't even want to look at. So yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. No, there was something that happened today, and I haven't even gotten very far into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. That's like, nasty. So yeah, no, I totally get that. But that's how it is with a lot of games out there. There's a lot of really engrossing games that are actually gross, not just engrossing. But that we as adults would love to kind of get into that with a little bit of like, ooh, but if you have kids, there's no way you can do it.
Right. Absolutely. And so there's oftentimes I'm not able to, like, I don't think about it all the time. Like I'm not thinking, oh, I can't wait to get into this gross game. And so when the time comes, I just don't even do it. I did watch Logan recently, and it was insane. Like imagine anything that you ever thought Wolverine could do with those claws, and he did it in this movie. And I don't know, it's crazy. I suggest it if you like depressing if you like depressing looks at superheroes. It was a great watch.
I wish that had been, because my wife and I watched that a few weeks back. I wish that had been in the trailers, that if you want to watch depressing, watch this movie, because I was not impressed with that movie, because it's not your prototypical superhero movie. It's
not at all.
Are you saying you're scared that it's an actual movie and not just a fluff?
No, but it wasn't. I didn't. No, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it not because it was real, not because it was gruesome. It was just when you go in thinking of one thing as a character and comic book style movies, and then you see this character and the style is completely different. That's why I didn't enjoy it. But no, it had nothing to do with it. It was a real movie.
I think it goes back to I don't have a lot of time in the evenings with Flounder. She got to wake up early. And so what happened was we watched this in like we watched the movie as a 4-part series. And so after that first night, like the first 30 minutes before she fell asleep, it was like I had a chance to internalize that it was a dark film. And I just kept thinking to myself, where are they even going to go with this? But as far as being like a standalone look into one version of reality, because we know in the comic books, Magneto takes the adamantium off of Wolverine's bones, which blew my mind in the comics when they realized that Wolverine naturally had those claws. Like the Alkali did not put those claws onto Wolverine. Alkali did not put the adamantium, the claws into Wolverine. He had those. They just laced it with adamantium. Like that's crazy. Blew my mind. So it's like it's one look at a possible. I don't want to say ending, because I feel like this movie could spark an entire new generation of mutants. But it's one view of it, and I don't know. We got to move on.
Well, I mean, they said it was the last Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
At least in this series by this studio.
When they first announced Hugh Jackman at 6'2" or whatever he was, I was pretty disappointed. Wolverine is typically and very visually constantly short. Like this is some way he's always been described. And so for him to have been 6'2", I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to get into it. But I really feel like he was Wolverine. I feel like he did a great job.
Well, I think they used smart camera angles and stuff too to not make him look taller than other people a lot of times too. I think they were true to the character with how they filmed it in that way.
Right, especially if I found out that James Marsden was like some kind of 5'10" or something. Like I feel like Cyclops has always been taller than Wolverine, and for them to be at least equal height, I think they did a good job.
Well, I think in the comics Wolverine's like 5'2".
Yeah, he's like insanely
he's really
short.
Right.
So they didn't try and play it down to where they had to make him out to be super short.
In order to make in order to make live action comic book movies, you kind of have to normalize a lot of things anyway, just to make it work. Period. So I feel like
wait, are you saying short's not normal? That's
What's that?
Pretty mean of you, Agrios. You're saying short is not normal.
No. I mean, you have to even out a lot of things, lose a lot of the eccentric ends. So in order to nail someone who really, really captured Wolverine, they had to, give up on the one little short, well, that's one little thing. Yeah, I could take little things that aren't important to the character with a grain of salt. I guess that's what I'm saying. Being sure it's not that important to the character.
Right. It was something that the comics constantly reminded you of, and it was just going back, back to that often. But you're right. As far as telling this story, was that important? It was not that important. But yeah, I definitely suggest watching it if you liked The Watchmen too. Watchmen was pretty dark as well. So definitely check it out. Okay. Hate Mail Harry says, all I can do is PvP. I somehow find myself completing every weekly PvP bounty. Why? No idea. I tend to rage more than anything. I find my way around the boring loadouts by running things like Pocket Infinity. I feel like PvP is a different creature than PvE. Like, especially, like, I can feel like there's an unpredictable element. You don't ever know who you're going to go up against. Is this player better than you? Is this player not better than you? Are you going to outskill them? Are you going to stick your head out just too far? Like, are you going to push? Are you going to pull? There's so much variables. I feel like that's why PvP still holds its interest. I feel like that's why it's a very important aspect of Destiny. The PvE, once you know the story and, as great as the AI is in Destiny, and I feel like the AI is really good, and as fun as it is to defeat each of their little idiosyncrasies, like the fact that you have to shoot the Cabal in the foot or the shooting hand in order for them to drop their shields in order for you to get a precision shot. I feel like that's fun. I feel like a lot of the things that you have to do in order to handle the AI is fun, but I feel like there's not that visceral animal reaction. And in PvP, maybe even if you don't know it, like your brain is kicking into another gear where you are actually combating another person, and I feel like that's why PvP has such a continued draw to so many people, is because even the situations where you're fighting the same people with the same weapons, every little bit it could be different. Are they going to duck back? Are they going to duck out twice? Like are they that far along their progression in Destiny PvP where they're going to try and double peak? So I feel like that's where that sits as far as that's concerned. And then Nemplay says, never before have I experienced such a love-hate relationship with a game before. And I feel like that's an amazing tribute to Destiny. I feel like that's an amazing way of putting it. Definitely a love-hate relationship. Like, especially in the early years where there was, where it was really thin, or where you could easily get confused about what needed to happen next before the quest system was in there, when there was only 6 bounty slots. Was it 6 bounty slots? Whatever it was too little. And so, love-hate relationship, that's it. That's a great way of putting it. And again, a great value. I love Destiny. I'm just super over it. Okay, let me see now. Agrios, how are you spending your time? Are you done with Destiny? Like, I know I ask us this every week, but I've hit bottom. I don't think I'm going to do anything in Destiny this week. At least nothing that wouldn't have a pull of another person, or like Gray was saying, Mark Square, if he invited me into a raid, I would probably do that, but nothing for myself. So are you playing any other games? If so, what?
I've been at the point where I have been not into soloing anything in Destiny since I think longer than you guys have. But by the same note, I don't think I'm anywhere near done with Destiny like you guys are at this point. Like, if anybody at any point wanted to play Destiny, I'd be all psyched about doing it. For a long time, I've not really enjoyed solo Destiny, but enjoyed it with friends, and I don't really feel any differently about that. I still feel just as happy to, like, when I was playing with Sharks and his brother has been starting it, I was geeked to just have a squad on to join up with and play Destiny with, because anytime I log on, there's nobody in the clan and maybe one or two people, on my friends list actually in Destiny. Compared to when Destiny was at its peak, I'd have, 4 or 5 full pages of people on the friends list, to run with. So coordinating like actual things to happen in Destiny is problematic at this point. So, but in the meanwhile, I haven't had that much time lately. I've had a lot of things going on in real life, but when I do have time to game and it's not Destiny, I've been working on Elite Dangerous.
And is that awesome or no?
Yes, very awesome.
What is the if you had to describe it in 30 words or less, like you're trying to get someone to play it, what would you say it's about?
It's as realistic as possible while still understanding that it's a game and a space simulator.
I like that. Is there an element of pay to play? Like, do you buy spaceships?
No.
So it's all in game?
You have to earn everything. The only thing you pay for is cosmetics. There are virtually no cosmetics in the game unless you pay for them with real money. They are, however, reasonably priced, but there is absolutely no pay-to-play factor. Not even remotely. Someone couldn't even try to claim that in any way, shape, or form.
Interesting. And what are these, like paint jobs for your spaceship?
Yep. Yeah, you have paint jobs for your spaceship, tattoos and stuff for your guy, different spacesuits for your guy, different colored laser beams and different color exhausts for your spaceships.
That's pretty cool. Is there PvP?
Yes. The whole game is ultimately, you can choose to play in solo, open, or in a private group. In open, essentially you're permanently in PvP. But there's fairly steep penalties for not obeying the laws of the galaxy. So it's fairly easy to elude just getting taken on if you don't want to fight. I mean, that said, a team could easily coordinate and take you down if they really wanted to. But if you're simply smart, you could just stay away from situations where you could get into that. Or if you don't want to deal with it at all, you can run solo. I personally like that sort of, what's going to happen? Is this guy going to be my buddy? Are we going to sit here side by side and blow up shits? Is he going to turn around and start shooting me? I like that aspect.
Is this a choice that you have to make early on and you're stuck there? Or can you choose these different things as you go along?
Every time you log on, if I'm in open and I want to flip to solo, I just flip to solo.
Interesting.
There's also private groups, and there's huge ones. There's one called the Mobius Player Group that has thousands of members, but they have certain rules. You have to obey certain laws of the galaxy, so you can't just grief and troll people, or you'd be kicked out of that private group. So it's open, but you have to obey the rules. Doesn't mean you can't pirate or attack other players. You just have to do it appropriately.
Interesting. And give me an example of these rules.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, so here's a tactic that is pretty cheap, okay? So people oftentimes speed in and out of stations. There's speeding laws. Once you get so close to a perimeter around a station, you'll see a speed law come up. And if you go over 100 miles an hour while you're in a speed zone, you're speeding. You can get fined, especially if you bump into another ship or the station while you're speeding. However, what players will do is they'll build what they call suicide bombers, okay? Or suicide winders, I mean. The earliest, cheapest ship you get in the game is called a Sidewinder. So they take the cheapest ship you get in the game, they gut it. They make it even cheaper to rebuy if they blow it up. And they call it a suicide winder. And they wait outside these stations until they see a big ship coming in with all kinds of cargo and stuff. And it's likely speeding. They crash into it, they blow up. The station says you murdered somebody because you were speeding, blows up the big ship. Their friends can come take all the cargo.
Interesting.
So that's a really
crazy.
cheap tactic that you wouldn't be able to do in the Mobius group, because just suicide bombing a ship that hasn't done anything wrong coming into a station is like against the rules there.
That is crazy. What you're describing right now sounds really cool and really crazy. This is the game Elite Dangerous, you say?
Yes.
Crazy. It sounds awesome. How much is this game?
$30 base, $60 with the deluxe editions.
Okay, so
I gotta mention about Elite Dangerous. One of my favorite parts is one of the things you can buy, or you can buy is a chip that lets your ship auto park.
Yes.
A spaceship.
It's awesome.
And the best part about it is it plays the same song as in 2001: A Space Odyssey. That do 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 do.
Yeah, like the ballerina-y sounding one, kind of. Yeah. It's awesome.
They play it in most space when they're slowly trying to match up to space stations or something.
Right.
My friend that actually told me all about this because he was playing on PC way back before it was on console, and he had a friend that could not land. He had to buy that. That was the only way he could dock in space stations, because he couldn't do it normally.
Once you get a bigger ship, it becomes tougher because there's like a mail slot opening, and certain ships, like the early ships, you can fly in any direction you want. But once you get a bigger ship, you have to fly through the mail slot the right way. And you're in space, and the space station's orbiting. Mm-hmm. So that mail slot's spinning. So you have to come in and adjust your trajectory to spin into the mail slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can become a very immersive... It can become a very immersive experience. I got it for PC when it launched, and I used the Oculus Rift. It was one of the first games that was optimized quite well for the Oculus Rift. And then I used a program called Voice Attack, which are you guys familiar with this? So it allows you to do voice commands into hotkeys, and then you program the hotkeys. So it was very cool to have your on, and actually Voice Attack will play an audio file back to you confirming your command. And so you can download voice packs and things like that. So you have basically like your own onboard computer that you're saying. I think the one that I had downloaded was Astra. So I'd say, hey, Astra, deploy my landing gear. And she would say, yes, sir, deploying your landing gear. And then it would send the command and the landing gear would deploy as I would go fly in and then land my ship. Deploy my armaments to put my guns out, things like that. It is a lot of fun, but it's a simulator. I don't play a ton of simulators. There isn't really a story. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's a ton in the game that you can get into factions. You can join different groups and different political organizations. There's these short-term public events that they put on where they're trying to move, secret cargo from one part of the galaxy to another part, and there's one faction trying to destroy it and another faction trying to protect it, and you can join a side and risk your ship and risk your money to go and try to help a cause. But at the end, you're just enjoying an experience, right? You're not trying to play to an end game. The end game is the experience.
The story's coming. The game wasn't released until this past June. It was in early access before that. So there's actually an alien race called the Thargoids who have just been creeping around and appearing and scanning ships and stuff up until now. But the next expansion's supposed to shit hit the fan, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And one of the more recent ones with, Dear Bungie, you might find it interesting. They did add in one of the expansions a while back that you can actually now land on the planets. Because when it originally launched, you couldn't land on the planets.
The next update actually is going to include atmospheric flight.
Yeah, that's going to be very No Man's Sky, but probably a lot more because it's not procedurally generated, right? This is something
it was originally procedurally generated, but it's not recreated all the time now.
Right.
Like the universe has so many planets in it that a computer program procedurally generated all those solar systems originally, but they're locked in as static now.
Right. Awesome.
This sounds really cool. This sounds really in depth. So I'm curious to know two things. I want to get to some Destiny conversation before our time is out. But two things I wanted to know.
We're still on the what you're playing from the third person.
Right. I still need to get to Jez. So I'm curious to know, this sounds really complicated. How do you do it all on just that controller? Is there like sub menus that you
It's amazingly done on the controller.
Is
I'm
it?
so impressed. It's
Because
all like hold O, tap left, tap right, tap up, tap down, L1, L2, then square and all those same buttons.
Oh, okay.
And triangle and all those same buttons. Now, the quick press things you need are all single taps of all those buttons. But to like lower your landing gear is O and down, and open your cargo scoop is O and up, and stuff like that. Or all your maps are on square. So your galaxy map's one side square, your system map's the other side square.
Very cool. It sounds very cool. Okay, so last question, and then moving on to Jez.
Oh, and then there's those things you can use, which are amazing too.
What things?
A HOTUS that Gray is holding up.
Oh, I switched from the thing. Oh, that is super sweet.
Hot ass.
That is super cool.
You can even get those with pedals too, like a pedal work. That's if I were going to go that far to get one of them, I would also get myself a pair of pedals to use.
That's really, really cool. Okay, so yeah, last question. You said that the first ship you start off with is called the Sidewinder, and people gut it to make it even cheaper. What exactly are they pulling out?
Oh, so everything in the game is customizable to a very high degree for the most part. You can customize your ship to be lightweight and get really far jump distance and good gas mileage if you want to go explore. You can customize it for cargo space if you want to be a trader, or customize it to be a fighter. They have a very interesting series of components, and it's not even necessarily this is the worst component and this is the best component. It's this is the best component for this particular task, and they're all rated. Like D-rated components are all the lightest weight components. They may not be the best, but you'll be able to jump the farthest and go the longest without having to refuel and stuff like that. A-rated are almost always the best all around, but not necessarily the most powerful. That goes to B-rated, but they're also the heaviest. So you're going to not be able to do as much, and you'll be slower and all that sort of stuff. So they have a really interesting sort of customization system that's kind of mirrors real life pretty accurately, I feel.
Man, that sounds so cool. We don't have too long before Destiny 2 comes out, and so I feel like my time is probably better spent wrapping up some of the games that I've opened up since. But I will definitely be looking at that, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
I need wingmates. Sharks has it, but he hasn't been playing.
Yeah. Poor Sharks.
I have it on every thing that's on except for PlayStation 4.
All right, Jez. What about you? What are you playing right now?
A lot of No Man's Sky. I'm trying to get more into Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, but that game requires me to listen to it as well, whereas No Man's Sky can do other things.
That's true.
And I am a horrible multitasker, and I basically feel worthless if I'm not multitasking. Let's see. There's another game that I'm rotating between like 3 games right now. I've been trying to finish Wolfenstein, but I'm not getting too far on that because I'm tired of the what do you call it? The mindless shooting. And it's actually, I set it on a high difficulty, and it's really punishing is the word for it. Other than that, I've been trying to catch up on podcasts because my one of the things I listen to, the Adventure Zone, is actually on a season finale, and tomorrow is the season finale for another D&D podcast. So there's a lot of season finales for shows that usually just continue on forever.
I see. I picked up Wolfenstein when it was cheap, and I found that I couldn't play it for very long because of the way the camera looks around. Like the field of view makes me sick.
I had that same effect at first, but it only lasted about 10 or 15 minutes for me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say 10 or 15 hours. I'm like, you are hardcore. Looking, playing, looking.
No, I kept like shaking my head. Like it felt weird adjusting to it at first, but as soon as I got through like the first like level and a half, I didn't even notice anymore.
See, that's about how far in I was before I before I had to quit, because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I figured I probably shouldn't hurt myself. Like the idea of making myself sick to play this game doesn't seem really great. I'm wondering if there's a way that you can adjust the field of vision.
A quick look while you're talking, just in case there was, and it seems even on PC they have to mod it in rather than just slide a slider.
Crazy. Recently, one of the things that I dislike about games that aren't Destiny is how they don't control like Destiny also. And I understand that it's like a proprietary thing. Like Bungie spent a lot of time and a lot of money figuring out the optimal way of controlling and looking around and all these things. But some games just don't do it right. And I feel like No Man's Sky is where my limit is, as far as if it's too much further outside of that, I can't do it. I did get to play one match of Halo 3 from the Master Chief Collection. Looking forward to playing some with Lawn Boy at some point in the future. and it felt really good as far as looking around was concerned, but because the button scheme is so much different, it's like I don't know. But you know what? I would rather deal with button scheme being different than field of vision messing with me, because I don't know. I have a broken equilibrium, and like I can't be in a car unless I'm driving or unless I'm just staring at the road. Like it's a bummer. So many road trips where I could have been playing Game Boy or something, and I just have to keep staring at the road or driving. So I don't know. Was your answer sufficient, Jez?
What? I'm not sure about. Was my answer to my question sufficient?
Here's the thing. I don't want to cut anyone off before they have a chance to speak their piece. So if playing some Wolfenstein and some No Man's Sky was the end of your answer,
it's probably the best way to sum it up because too much.
Got it. All right then.
Wait, Remy, I want to say this. I think we should talk some Destiny because my sister-in-law's parents, the Silvas, are watching our podcast, waiting for us to talk about this game that she's been playing, and we haven't talked about it. So let's talk about it.
You know what? Okay, so I want to.
Speaking of that, guess what comes out tomorrow? The Defenders.
I want to apologize to everyone and also thank them for putting up with this segment. It's been on my mind, like as throughout the week I look for things that we could be discussing on the show, and the one thing that kept coming back to me was how done I am with Destiny and how I'm curious to know what everybody is playing. So to your sister-in-law's parents, I'm very sorry. We'll start discussing Destiny right now, starting with whatever it is that Agrios has on his fancy list of Destiny information. Agrios, what you got?
All right, so this week coming up, Bungie goes to Gamescom. Now the final stop, or wait, is it the final stop? Is it before or after PAX now, actually?
It's before PAX, so we've got
before PAX
too.
Okay, so it's actually not the final stop Bungie's going to be making before
the penultimate stop.
But it's going to be one of the final stops. So it's in Cologne, Germany, and our European friends will finally get a chance to play the game over there. The ones that didn't fly to the U.S. already, I should say. And shortly after that, they'll be attending PAX, where Luke Smith will be the opening keynote speaker. Are any of you guys able to hit up PAX West this year?
I will be there. I will be there for that that certain presentation. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Coming up soon, the new Destiny companion will take over the old Destiny companion on August 23rd. Immediately prior to that, all Destiny clans need to make their decision as to whether they're going to remain a group and create a new clan or migrate their current clan over to Destiny 2. Deadline for that is the same as the new companion. In the new companion, they will let you stay up to date with the latest news, as always. Discover new events and activities. See latest amazing creations from the community. Find community and help with forums and groups. For the clans, you'll be able to create or join a clan, invite others to join you, manage the clan roster, see who's playing, create a shared identity with a unique banner, track your clan progression and shared rewards, communicate with your teammates through clan text chat. So, along with everything that you're able to do in the original companion, for the most part, it seems like it's shaping up to be a good app. But
you notice still how they still haven't added certain things that apps like Dim have. I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't really pushed it forward and really added some stuff that people are going to use.
Well,
like what, for instance, you mean loadouts?
That could also be them making way for people to make apps for it rather than push in on their territory. If someone else is doing a better thing than you, why waste the resources to do that yourself?
Yeah, but you seriously going to have two apps loaded up at the same time?
Why would you have two apps?
What do you mean, why would you have two apps? They're trying to push their app to do this, that, and everything else, but they're not.
Saying if they're going to rely on other people to do their apps, why do one at all?
Pretty much.
Well, see, my thing is when you're switching between, hey, I want to go to the loaded section of the Destiny 1 app, and then I want to go to the explore section of the Destiny app, you've got to switch physically between them. You could literally have both apps running and just use your recently used apps button and go that way. Or does
I think he just means that if Bungie's not going to step up and make their app as good as the third-party apps, why is Bungie bothering to make their own app at all?
He has no answer. He has no answer because I'm right.
I don't know.
It's out, actually.
It's I was trying to form the words for it, but it's to do with the other section that they want to deal with, like not the gear setup. They also want to show the explore part. That's mostly what they're updating in this app.
Is this app going to still be able to interact with the forums? Because I didn't see that listed on there.
Yeah.
That is going to be functionality that carries over into this next one.
Yes, they actually explained it they listed it in the new to Destiny 2 section, even though all the things they listed under there aren't new to Destiny 2. Like find community and help with forums and groups.
Got it. Maybe they're looking at something more specific than that. Like maybe there's an additional functionality. And you know what though? I think that Agrios has a good take on this. They want to do X amount of things, and if Y and Z are being taken care of by the community, then that's not something that they have to focus on right away. I wasn't certain where you guys were going with that right off, but that makes a lot of sense to me. The idea that Dim is handling item management means that Bungie can focus on some other stuff before they allocate those resources. Because why compete with why compete with people who are passionate about this? Basically, they're just unpaid Bungie developers. Like they can look at something else. I'm looking forward to finding out everything that has to do with these clans, and the app looks pretty cool. If these screenshots are representative of that, I feel like it's definitely has an updated feel to it, especially this screen with Sweet Business on it. I feel like the the original Destiny companion app was cool, was really excellent, but I feel like there was, I don't know, it feels kind of like looking at bricks of a house instead of looking at just the house. Here is this brick, and then here is this brick, and then here is this brick. It didn't feel necessarily as it didn't flow as nicely as I think it could have. And looking at these screenshots, if this is if this is what they're going to look like, then this is a big improvement, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I'm really glad that the forum functionality is back. Not that I used it, and not that I can really I'm planning on using it, but it is a super valuable resource. Like being able to communicate with all of these different people and all of these different forums is really excellent. Every now and then I'll go into the forums, and I will just look through them, and there's some good conversation going on there. I just don't have more than 5 minutes at any point in time of uninterrupted thought process, so it's difficult. But as far as I want to get a group of Guardian 1 members, like a small team that actually just go through the forums and look for interesting things to talk about, and like maybe even just pointing people in the right direction, like creating our own mentor group where people will go in and answer these questions that aren't being answered by everyone else because there's just so many people, there's just so many questions. So that's really cool.
I'd like to talk about banners for a minute. So we see the banners during a banner access or whatever in the companion app, and I guess allegedly on the Bungie.net too. How are they going to handle these banners? Is everybody going to be able to just go design banners to like show you this is what I think my banner would look like, or is like the founder going to be the only one able to get into the clan banner thing designer? Can everybody design these so everybody can submit one to you for you to pick for the clan to use? Like, how are they going to handle this?
That's
you're going to have to give somebody special admin privileges just to see if you like the banner they want to design?
Right. That's a really great question, and I wish that I had an answer for you. They say unique banners, and I just feel like this is going to be one of those things where, it's going to be like an emblem, or it's going to be like their previous emblem creator, where here is X amount of X objects, and here is X amount of Y objects, and you can mix and match. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go back on my Call of Duty days, all right? Call of Duty, you could build banners, and you could build badass banners. I mean, yeah. I made a shark, of course, but I mean, people made all kinds of stuff. Unfortunately, though, here's the thing: is if Bungie is doing this, it could potentially cause problems for them, because this is not I'm presuming this is still a team game, right? Is
yes.
it? I don't know.
The Destiny 2 is rated T for teen.
Okay, so T for teen. That means that it's going to be really awkward if somebody goes and they're able to make their own banner, and you see somebody's dong walking along on their banner. So there's Well,
that's what I think. What Remy was saying though is I think they'll have maybe hundreds of components, but you'll only be able to select from their list of shapes and pictures.
Yeah, but that doesn't. No, but that doesn't matter though. So that's how it was with Call of Duty too. Call of Duty, you have so many layers that you can build. Say you have stars and all the numbers and all.
But how's someone putting a dong on their phone?
Because what you do is layer after layer, you twist, turn stuff, totally. and you make it. So I hope that that's what they've done as far as being able to build stuff with layers upon layers to do stuff. But there is a drawback to that, is that people will abuse it. Everybody, there's always, you got the trolls and the people that just abuse everything out there. So, but I hope that they just kind of look past that and do it anyways.
There's just no way. There's just no way that's the way they're going to do it. And maybe even just to spite me, because one of my Dear Bungie videos, I put together, I didn't have Call of Duty, but I had what was that? Forza. Forza had a very similar scheme where each side had certain amount of layers. You could just make a stamp, and just like you said, Sharks. Actually, if you go in and look at that video, I made a Future War Cult stamp. I made the Traveler out of these different shapes just by going in and just basically shaping these images with these layers. So
those ratings don't apply to online experiences.
Oh, okay, yeah. But at the same time,
what do you mean?
Okay, if you can only use these banners in PvP, those T for teen ratings only apply to the game, not the online experiences, because they know they can't handle what other players do. That's how these other games get around the problem, like Call of Duty or whatever.
Oh, really?
Is that the ratings say very clearly they do not apply to your online interactions.
Because they can't rate what you hear over voice chat.
Exactly. Like even now in Destiny 1, Bungie can't rate what's said in voice chat to you. Like their own voice chat.
No, yeah, I know. And that's part of the reason why they did what they did with not being able to talk to people initially. They thought that they could, force people not to be trolled by bad people. And now it's opt-in kind of thing. And I guess it is kind of opt-in to look at somebody's banner, right?
Well, I mean, playing PvP, you opt into the online experience, and then that's not rated. So
yeah, but
anytime you're playing...
Yeah, but your banner isn't going to be the banner that's being brought there playing PvP. It's going to be banner that if you look at somebody's character and look at their information, that's what the banner is going to be.
Oh, no, I think the banner is going to be... maybe I misunderstood, but I thought it was going to be more physical in-game usage. I didn't know how they were going to apply and use it, but... My next question while I'm talking is going to be, do you think that you will be able to find and unlock components for the banner through play?
So, I was going to say this earlier, but now's a good time to say it. Did you guys ever play Diablo 3?
No.
Yes.
So, Diablo 3 had a banner system that was mostly used for, like, hey, this is this so-and-so person's banner, and click on it and you'll, like, teleport to them. However, their achievement system was all about unlocking parts of the banner.
Yes.
So you could unlock like a ragged bottom to it, or you could unlock a new style.
I mean, you had to get super high before you could unlock the dong. I mean, it took forever to unlock the dong in Diablo 3.
Phrasing.
I'm sure there's probably something that is fairly phallic, but because of the way it is, it's not like customized. You're just picking a symbol, maybe picking a style of like 2 small pictures and 2 blank areas type of thing. But
that's what I was thinking. They would limit it to only
you had
so many objects,
icons, and specific color, or not specific colors, but you could choose whatever color you want. So it's more customized that way. That's what I think it's going to do.
I mean, even with Halo 3's limited emblem creator, there was still people who ended up making images that were inappropriate. And so Bungie has made very clear that they are interested in curating your experience to something akin to like the iPhones. They're going to make sure that you get to choose a very limited amount. There is no way that they're opening up the creative aspect of this to anywhere near what I want or what you want, Sharks. And I feel like it's smart. I would very much like to see something like you're talking about, Jez, where you unlock at some point like maybe a different staff, or maybe like the ragged bottom, or
imagine
or even,
world first, you get a gold filigree around the edges.
Right, like I think that opens itself up to them still being able to curate that experience, but at the same time, it would be more like what they were talking about in the first Destiny, where this is a representation of everything you were able to accomplish.
So I have a question, and this is to you, obviously, because you're saying this, but open it up to the entire panel. Do you believe that in this day and age, with customization the way it is, and how games have already had amazing ways to customize things like banners, that doesn't it feel like a step back then to not, if it's the way you're saying, to not give people the opportunity to do it like that and just have something plain?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. And I feel like it's just part of it. I feel like what you're talking about, those little banners, the little card for Call of Duty, like that was really cool. You could make anything that you wanted if you had the time and the inkling. And going into Destiny 1, that's something I was looking forward to, like customizing armor patterns, customizing weapon patterns, like all of this seemed so cool and so amazing. And you're right, it is a step backward. And I just feel like Bungie is going to leverage a really interesting game, a really great game, a solid story, really amazing play control. Like that's what you're going to come to Destiny for, not to express yourself in the utmost degree. And like I said, I made that video, and I really thought that that's what they were going to do because other games have done it. Forza has been doing it since like 2007. Like there's no reason that Bungie could not do exactly what you're talking about and more. And I just don't think that they're interested in doing that. I think that if that was the case, then it would be much harder for them to do like what Jez was talking about, world first, you get the gold filigree or whatever. I feel like what they want your Guardian and your banner to represent something that's in this game. Otherwise, you could just recreate it. World first is a little X, a little X'd out bad guy's face or something. You could just recreate that in the way that you and I are talking about. So I feel like that's the decision that they've made going forward. And I would be pleasantly surprised. I'll eat those words. I'll print those words out on a tortilla, and I'll eat them because I would love it. I would absolutely love this this style that we're discussing. It would be incredible, yeah, but I feel like we're really just looking at more along the lines of what Agrios is saying. How are they going to do the banners? Is it only going to be the founder that's able to solidify the banner? Because what I would like everyone to come up with a banner and then submit it, and then maybe we'll vote on it. Or maybe I will just do one and y'all just eat it. You know what I'm saying? But either way, I mean, it's going to be. I think that this is a very cool addition to the game, even in the lower state of just being given. Here is one selection. Here is a second selection. Now mix and match. Even like that, I think it's going to be fantastic to have in the game. So I don't know. You're totally right, Sharks. And I wish that it wasn't that way, but I mean, here we are. I don't really want to play a game other than Destiny. I mean, I do because I'm not interested in playing Destiny right now, but when Destiny 2 comes out, I'm going right back to never playing anything again. Like when Destiny 1 came out, I just didn't play anything forever. I can't even remember when I started playing other games because I was so enthralled with it. So, Gray, you've been quiet for a long time, and I know that you have to have a take on this, and it's probably really excellent. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything that we've talked about for like the last 25 minutes.
That's a big blank check.
Yeah. Run free, my friend. Run free.
I think clans are going to get one banner, and I think that it will go through some kind of admin approval process, kind of like new membership applications kind of are done through BNet. I bet that there'll be some functionality that we'll get submissions of what people have created, and that's if they allow them to create them in game. I don't know that we've ever seen a banner creation functionality in any of the gameplay we've seen from Destiny 2. Have you guys seen that in anything?
Well, it says you'll be able to create it in the app. So do you think they'd let it create it in game and in the app? I think they do it one way or the other, personally.
Yeah, so it's probably just app, and then it'll be an approved deny.
Banners in the game, except for that one time that they were talking about guided games.
Yeah, at that gameplay reveal event. And honestly, like, it'll be cool because I think that as a clan, the more that they put in the game to allow us to better represent ourselves is going to be good. It's going to help with feeling more united. And as they add other aspects to this, right? Because we're also going to have those achievements that are clan specific. So we have to collectively be able to achieve certain things to get certain rewards out of the game. So I think putting that all together is going to be really good for our clan and other clans. I'm not so worked up on the cosmetic side of it. I want things to look cool, but I'm more function than fashion. So I don't really think I've got a big bone to pick with it. And of course, Remy, whatever you like in terms of the banner that comes through and strikes your fancy is going to be fine by me. So that'll be okay.
That's why we get along. No, I definitely want it to be. I definitely want it to be something that everybody likes, and the idea that there would be, an opportunity for everyone to create one and then submit it. It seems like a really cool. Idea. I mean, unless specifically there is a cog and a yin yang symbol, because I think that would be perfect. But I don't know, the image that we're looking at here, this looks like a queen's guard, sort of. I mean, what does that look like to you guys? I mean, assuming that you're all looking at this image.
I agree. I definitely see that it definitely has that Queen-esque feel to it.
And so I don't know.
It looks like my Halo logo, because I always went the Triforce with the slightly different colored top, or the sun, and the sun is what I ended up on.
Wait a minute. Does the About Us on that page say unholiness and grar?
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't see it. That's funny if it does say that.
Yeah. It does. Just zoom in on the picture.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And the founder is food.
Weird.
I don't know. All I know is that in less than 3 weeks we're going to know how these banners work. I'm excited about that.
Something I want to point out, interestingly enough, on that one page, and this is probably just what do I call it? Placeholder text, but under the Oathkeeper's score section, it says Oathkeeper rating pending for both raids and nightfalls.
Right.
What's Oathkeeper?
Oh.
Well, that's the scoring. That's how you rank up. You have a certain amount that you can gain each week for your clan reward. So, a weekly event, there's going to be a weekly clan, and enough people from your clan are going to have to get enough points in those events to get you this week's clan reward.
I see what you're saying. Totally. So this clan, the Rogue Squadron, does not have a rating for, they don't know how well
they didn't
they've
run
done.
any Nightfalls or raids yet this week.
I think it's only that one person for that one example, so there's probably not enough people to run.
Well, and apparently they didn't run PvP either, because we know that PvP is part of the process.
No, I think that's the cumulative clan spot.
I think it's the cumulative clan spot as well, because this is the clan page, right?
Yeah.
Share clan, invited player.
But what I mean is,
I
think this clan only has one person.
Oh, I thought that's what the 4 meant. Beside the flag, there's a little group of people that says 4 below, and there's a timer that says 13 days.
Maybe that's friends. It could. I mean, it would make more sense for that to be how many people are in the group.
Are you guys looking at? This is what you're looking at on This Week at Bungie?
The center
the
picture.
companion app. All the information is probably just placeholder.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to finding out what these the clan progression and shared rewards are. Like the idea that you would just be in a clan and let's say someone goes to the lighthouse, and so everyone in the group gets some kind of reward out of that. That sounds really cool. I really love the idea that my hard work would be shared throughout the group. Like that would gain me bonus points. Anybody who's still running raids right now would be sharing these rewards. I think this is a really cool aspect of Destiny 2, and I'm really excited about learning more about this.
I think it's cool too, but I don't expect it to be too elaborate. I expect it to more or less be summed up with these Nightfall and raid points. I expect that to be more or less the extent of it. So I'm not getting my hopes up too high, but...
What do you think the rewards are going to be?
I think it's going to be, you know how like Sublime engrams have specific loot to them for the PlayStation loot stuff. Okay, well, or the Iron engrams or whatever they call them have the Iron Banner gear in them, right? I think it's going to be its own specific type of like engram, like clan engrams, and it'll have its own loot that can only come from those engrams, right?
Okay, so I think that you've already overstepped your boundaries of not looking, for too cool of something, because that sounds really excellent, Agrios.
Well, I mean, that's what they're already doing. I mean, each of these things has their own loot pool, sort of like each of the different boxes had their own loot pool. Each of the different engrams right now in Destiny 1 have their own loot pool. So I just see that as a sort of stay the course thing.
Sharks, I can't believe you said stay the course. What's that, Jeff?
I wasn't listening to this entire conversation, but what if the what if the loot you get from your clanmates running Nightfalls is loot that has your clan logo on it?
Ooh. And this is
now see, there's where I think's go too far. I think that's excellent.
Well,
I think it's an awesome idea. I'd love that. But I don't think
I mean, if it's going to be in anything, it's going to be in something gained by the clan.
Oh yeah, I agree. I just don't think we're going to see our designed clan logos on anything we're wearing in game. Now, that said, Warframe has already been doing that for years.
Yeah.
You can not only that, you can design your own logo, like really your own logo, and it'll be right there on your shoulder.
Man, that is so cool. I really like that idea, Jez. I really like the idea that this goes into exactly what Agrios is just saying. Like the shared rewards would be pieces of gear that have your logo on it, and I could see that. I could definitely see that. Like,
yeah, don't you guys learn?
It'll be another set of loot boxes that Sharks won't get all the pieces.
but I mean, Warframe is already doing this. No. It's not like this is complicated tech.
Do you guys not learn? Okay, you seriously, obviously.
That's what we're here for, Sharks.
No. This is not what we're here for. We are not.
It is.
Okay, we have been doing this. Okay, Remy has been doing this for over 3 years. Because he was doing this before the first Destiny came out. Okay, now when Destiny released and it didn't have all that stuff that you were hoping for, what happened with you? You felt horrible. Okay, Why are you doing it now? You know damn well there is no way that any of that is going to happen in game.
Okay.
I love pipe dreams.
We should have a bet then.
I agree. I'm with that. So I don't. As number one, Sharks, I can't help it. It's part of my nature to dream. I'm the dreamer. You ever watch Explorers? I'm Ethan Hawke. I'm the dreamer. I'm not the smart guy. I'm not the tough guy. I'm the dreamer. So
I just want to do some quick math on this. We have a 2-hour-long podcast that's on episode 145. So this is how big of a problem this is for Dear Bungie. He has literally spent over 12 days postulating about Destiny over the last 3 years. Over 12 days right here in this forum.
Right, and I love it, and I'm just psyched to do it. As a matter of fact, I was going to bring this up earlier, but I got sidetracked. Every now and then I'll get this feeling of like, oh man, I'm so stoked about what I'm doing right now while we're doing this podcast. And so even at the point where I'm at right now, and even with how badly burned I got on the Destiny 1 being released and being nothing like I thought it was going to be, I still love doing it. So there it is, character flaw, Sharks. So what do you think it's going to be? What do you think the shared rewards are going to be, Sharks? You think it's going to be something like environmental materials, some kind of like planetary materials, or like a booster? You think it's going to be like a booster to PvP?
Think it's be that. No way. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be some stupid emblem, some stupid, maybe if you're really, really lucky, a shader or something like that. It's not going to be gear. It's not going to be guns. It's not going to be anything like that.
It's got to be something that's. Shaders. I feel like there's only a finite amount of shaders. I feel like that.
We got gear shaders now. There's going to be a ton of shaders.
Oh, wait. Okay, so like that it's.
Because this is like a weekly thing.
I'm trying to think if I can say certain aspects that is released. I don't know if I can.
Here's the thing. is that this is like a weekly deal where like you're okay. So
not all of it's weekly.
No.
Well, we were talking about
the clan reward is.
We were talking about the Nightfall rewards for the clan. Like after you play the Nightfall with so many people, the clan gets a box.
They may not all be weekly, but there is a weekly clan reward of some sort that will reset every week.
I guess I just went to weekly because that's the ritual that Bungie has put in front of us. And it says right here Nightfall and Raid.
There may also be non-weekly rewards too.
Obviously, I don't know exactly, but I know that it's not all weekly. I know that for a fact that it's not all weekly.
Okay, well that would be cool too. Like having done like a hard mode raid, here is that you've unlocked it and now you don't need to do it again.
I would expect stuff like that as well.
It'd be crazy is if there was one that required everybody in your clan to do something. Like in order to unlock it, everybody in your clan has to go through this raid.
Okay,
that would be pretty interesting.
I want to take a step back for a second. Okay, I made a comment to you guys about stop hyping it up, stop hoping for stuff. Okay, you also have to remember something is that now I understand that the clan rewards is trying to entice people to get into clans and work together. But there are going to be a lot of people that are not doing this. They are not in clans, okay, for whatever reason. I find it very, very unlikely that Bungie will go and say, okay, well, here, you're in a clan. You get this awesome piece of loot.
That's what they did with Trials.
It had nothing to do with clans. That had to do
with...
No.
What I'm saying is there's people who don't PvP, can't PvP, and they locked gear behind that extreme PvP. Well, there's people who don't clan, they lock gear behind the clan. Same
Guess what's easier than going to the lighthouse? Getting into a clan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So Lays Summerstone says, rewards are ability to ban a person from your clan. That's pretty funny. And then Savvy Artist says, slap bet. Slap bet would be hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. And then Lays says, give me a stupid emblem. I don't care. It'll be new. And I'm in that category as well, especially if there's some aspect of collecting, like those kiosks that they had previously. I'm looking forward to continuing that because even the ones that I didn't want, like the Queen's emblems, I wasn't ever going to use one, but they were there being sold, and so I wanted to get them. I wanted to add them to my collection. So hopefully there's something like that.
With static rolls on things, I have a feeling we're going to get kiosks out the wazoo.
I don't know.
That's their vault solution now. Static rolls, you unlock the Vanguard pistol there's kiosk you can go get out of anytime you want.
You know what? I really like that idea, actually. That would also put the need for vault space, as a matter of fact.
There's no more vault. You just get what's on your current person. You delete it if you don't want it and go take out the copy you've already unlocked.
I'm gonna put this out here right now. Nobody, even Gray is really mellow. No, even Gray is really mellow, but nobody on this podcast is going to be happy with the vault space in Destiny 2.
I think vault's just going to be materials.
I think
it's not.
Okay.
I think you're discounting how much I had a full vault and didn't really care that it was full in Destiny 1.
You know what? And you're wrong. You're a limited time wrong, Sharks, in that I will be happy with whatever vault they give us up until probably like a month in. I think it'll probably take me a month to really fill that out, and then your statement will be correct. But in the beginning, like those first 2 weeks at least, especially now, like having hung out in the end game of Destiny for so long and having to just throw, like, basically as long as I don't have something on my character for longer than about 45 minutes, I can delete it no problem, because it hasn't entered this additional layer of my consciousness. Like some of the gear that I have, even I picked up at 320. I had it for so long, and it seemed like such a good deal that I haven't been able to delete it. But as long as I look at it and I say I don't want that, I can delete it. I would give it actually more like 10 minutes, as long as it hasn't been sitting in my inventory for 10 minutes.
I have a question for the group then. Okay, I want everybody to answer. Will you, now that you have played Destiny 1 and know how the end game ended up, and you also know how meta changed all the time, but you understand all of that now, presuming that Destiny 2's going to be similar, will you hold on to items?
Yes, of course.
But have limited vault space.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how limited, like in the beginning, there was like
What?
There's no point in deleting anything unless your vault's full.
Gray?
Unless you know for certain that you don't want it.
We already know how these two are answering. Okay?
Unless for certain that you don't want it.
So this is my issue is, you guys know that I don't get attached to my weapons and my gear in the same way that you do. But the thing that drives me crazy is, like you said, Sharks, there's no point in deleting anything until your vault is full, until you have to go and spend 2 hours deleting out stupid shit from your vault that you never should have kept in the first place. So I'm going to be deleting things probably fairly aggressively in Destiny 2 just so that it doesn't get out of control. And I feel like, oh gosh, now I got to go and free up room and spend a couple hours when I want to be playing the game. I don't want to be cleaning my vault. I want to play the game.
I'm gonna drop the mic in 10 seconds here, but the thing that I want most is not more vault space, but the ability to select multiple things in my vault and just dismantle all.
Agreed.
That's an interesting take right there. Alaze actually brings up an interesting point. He says, I think you won't be saving guns so much as hoarding the things that modify the guns. And that right there is totally it. He's totally right. Like, I feel like one of the things that Destiny 1 taught me, hanging out in the end game for as long as I have, it's really, if I don't like it, then I just need to get rid of it. But the idea that we will be getting different ways to modify those guns, I won't be hoarding the guns so much as I'll be hoarding the things that I like that modify the guns. Great call, Lace. I really admire your Zen-like approach, Gray, to not getting attached to things. And you know what? And we've talked about this before, and that was because you didn't go through the drought of legendary engrams and legendary gear in year one. And I really feel like this is what made me so so crazy gun hoarding as I am right now, is because, I'd get like a purple engram a week. 3 purple engrams a week was like, oh my God, this is insane. And it was also during that time when you could bring a purple engram to the Cryptarch and get blue gear from him. So it was like, Bungie explained it as it was supposed to be a maybe. Here's this purple engram. It might be purple, it might be something else. And that wasn't sitting well with the community at large. And so they ended up changing it. But yeah, I feel like you never had a drought of legendary gear. So you were able to just, oh, well, this is all crap and I don't need any of it.
That's been my life in Destiny. Too much loot has been, as a D2 player, right? It was just pour on the loot, which was fun. Like, you get to play with a lot of different guns, but for actually the experience I want in the game, I want to have more of that Destiny 1. You actually feel like the reward is a true reward. When you do get that purple, it actually feels good, not just like, oh, another purple that I got to dismantle because it's my 17th hand cannon that does the same thing the other hand cannons do.
I totally agree with how Gray wants the game. To a point, because obviously I went through those droughts. But I don't even see it as being people that haven't gone through those engram droughts and whatnot. You can still get it now. It's the RNG. It's the RNG. You know, I mean, look at Holtzman. Holtzman for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on end in year 2. Was it year 2 or maybe it was year 3? No, it was year 2. Trying to get a gun, just one of the guns, not even the rolls, just get the gun. I think it was 1,000-yard stare. And Pope Bear was constantly, you know, tweeting out, oh, look at this one. Here's deleted. Here's another one deleted. And Holtzman couldn't get one. You know, there are people, there RNG, me, with that damn gear in the boxes. You know, it's just not dropping. And I think that, you know, we actually had a discussion in the Guardian 1 chat this morning. And Connor was having a really good discussion with Agrios, basically. And what came up was about why do you bother hoarding onto guns? And for me, the answer to that is there's no guarantee I'm gonna get that gun later. And I can say that for one gun in year 1, I got a Deviant Gravity, and I got one. I only got one. I never got another one. Now I happen to be really, really lucky with that particular gun. Agrios hated me for the longest time because it was a god roll. I mean, all I had to do was aim down the sights, didn't have to pull the trigger, and people would die. I mean, it was that good of a gun, right? But I never got another one. If I had deleted that to make room for something else, I would have been shit out of luck. And I think it's stuff like that that kind of worries me going into Destiny 2 with the impression that we're not going to have a lot of room. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it like that. But, you know, if that impression is true, and RNG is still the same way it is, we could have some issues. And that kind of sucks. I don't want to go down that same route I went in Destiny 1 hoarding, but I mean, it's in my blood. I wish I had more of the thought process that Gray does, and it's like, don't hold on to stuff, you know, like go on and just play the game, you know. And I do to a point, and I've gotten a lot better, as you all know. I mean, you look at my vault, I don't have hardly anything that was original. I still keep way too much shit for no reason, but yeah, I don't know. It kind of worries me.
Okay, I agree with Sharks. In year 1, I don't know if you remember, Sharks, I wanted a full auto pulse rifle like nothing else. And I could not get one. People were getting beautiful rolls all the time, all around me. I had no desire to use them. And I could not get one. I didn't use one the entire vanilla Destiny. Although it probably would have been my ideal PvP rifle at that point in time. And I that just stuck in my mind. And that's a lot of the reason why I save weapons the way I save them in Destiny 1. And I think that, like Gray said, he doesn't want to spend a time where he has to spend 2 hours sitting there going through his vault. Well, the way I do it, I very rarely end up in that situation anyway. I generally keep one spot open so that if I find a gun I like, I can put it in that spot. But if I fill that spot, that means as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to go through and figure out which weapon I like least and delete it to make another spot. And I very rarely get multiple guns at one time that I want to vault and keep. So I don't like any given point, I'm always just figuring out my worst gun in my vault and deleting it.
Do you know what my vault was used for? I hoarded scout rifles, and everything else that was in there was mostly, I'll put it in here because I'm too lazy to delete it now.
That's the first time I've ever heard that Jez hoarded anything. That's amazing.
Well, there's only like 6 of them, so it was pretty easy. It was like, okay, I need a Deadshot Luna. I need a hard-hitting one, so I don't know, exotic one, because there's no real hard-hitting ones that... Actually, you could get a hard-hitting one if you did fucking trials, but yeah.
Okay, so I agree with Gray. I would really like the gear that drops to be more meaningful, but I feel like in order for it to be more meaningful, it has to be something that you want, you know. And I feel like the only way that that's going to happen is if they give us a choice. Like, for instance, instead of giving this engram at the end of, you know, so like the Nightfall, you just get a random drop, or in an engram, you just get a random weapon. Like if we got to do a Nightfall and that gave us some kind of token where we could take back and choose our reward, I am totally in on less rewards, less fast, because then at least I'm moving in a direction of my choosing. So like, what's that? Oh, I love it.
Okay,
That's
so
really
no,
cool.
this has to do with chat. Sorry.
So yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So yeah, so the idea, Gray, that the drops would be fewer, far between, but more meaningful. I feel like that has to be something that you want. Like I never really wanted a pulse rifle. I never really used a pulse rifle. And the idea that I would get a really sweet pulse rifle doesn't appeal to me as much as, like say I wanted a scout rifle, say I wanted an auto rifle. I want I want those drops to be more meaningful, especially if they're going to be fewer and far between. And I feel like in order for that to be successful, I feel like I have to be the one choosing it. Like if I could choose between a hand cannon and a pulse rifle and a scout rifle and an auto rifle, I feel like that would be excellent. Like you only get, a very few amount of legendaries, but you get to choose what legendary that is, even if it was randomized within the type of weapon. So I want an auto rifle, but I only want an auto rifle. And I don't get to choose which auto rifle shows up, but at least I get an auto rifle. And I feel like that way it would allow me more of an opportunity to get familiar with all the different archetypes, and it would allow me to feel like I'm progressing in a way that I wanted. So I really like your idea, Gray, but I feel like it's just going to it's not going to be that way. I don't think that we're going to get to choose what we want, even though in the beginning in Destiny 1, the gunsmith is proud of your work. Go visit him. Here are these 4 archetypes. Choose one of these. Like, I don't know why they didn't continue that throughout the progression of the game. So, I don't know. Great idea, Gray, and I'm in on it. But I want to feel like I'm progressing in the direction I want to. If I don't want a hand cannon and I'm not going to use a hand cannon, giving me a hand cannon is not going to make me happy that I spent that time the way I did. Especially if there's fewer, it's going to mean even worse. It's going to be even worse. I just got lucky in the fact that the first couple legendaries I got were auto rifles. So I don't know. Anyone else on this topic before we move on? No? Excellent. Moving on.
All right. So next on the horizon, we have the Destiny 2 PC beta coming up on August 28th, I believe it is. Yes, it'll start with early access on August 28th. And after that, we'll actually be able to start preloading Destiny 2 itself on August 31st. On PlayStation 4.
I think it's September 1st on PlayStation 4.
No, preloading will begin early next week, while the PlayStation 4 Xbox One preloading will begin early next week, while PlayStation 4 preloading will become available on August 31st, 2017.
Okay. That's my faulty memory.
So, as I mentioned before, the clan upgrades happen just previous to the companion updating on August 23rd. So make sure you take care of your clans by then. This week, a number of new items of Destiny merchandise came out in various places, and GameStop primarily got a bunch of different items in. There's a large amount of merchandising for Destiny 2, a lot more than they had for Destiny 1. There's also a lot more in the works. The McFarlane figures all came out this week with 3 variants available many places, while there's one unique variant of each class available as a special at Target, Walmart, and at GameStop.
And Walgreens.
Wait, there's 4 special ones? Wait, did I mess up something? I must have misquoted something. It's Walmart, Walgreens, and Target. No, GameStop has one too. I'm confused now.
There's 4.
There's 4 specials.
Yep.
Okay, I thought there was only 3. Is one of them the same? I mean,
one of them might be the same. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
Okay, so they also announced from the same company that made our little Cade figures, a Zavala, a Ikora Ray, and a Gaul figure that will all be released from them for, I believe it said $18 Australian, because that's what the news release came out. So I'm not sure what that translates to in US dollars, but those are on the horizon as well.
My guess it's going to be the same as the Saladin figure.
Well, the Saladin figure came with the wolves, though. Do you think that's just bonus with that, or do you think they'd be a little cheaper?
No, I think it's just bonus. I bet you it's going to be the same price. Yeah, I contacted the guy that the guy that does them, and he said that it's because I wanted to get because they've only the Gaul one's only up in Australia, and Ikora Ray and Zavala were up in the UK. So I contacted him and I said, hey, we don't have any info on this stuff here. I'd like to get a hold of him. He says, well, I'd have to talk to ThinkGeek, who is actually part of GameStop or Bungie. And I said, well, do you have like a release time? And he goes, well, it's definitely being released in the US. So that's for sure. But it's kind of weird. I think it's kind of weird with everything that's going live as far as promotions and stuff that you can buy, that things aren't being sold or at least put on up for pre-sales at the same time in different countries. I find that kind of odd.
Do you think it's potentially supply concerns? Like they can only supply so many, so as to avoid making customers angry that there's literally only one going to like every other store in existence. They're only supplying certain areas till they can get the supply up.
Well, okay, I get it if that was the case, except for that, like, okay, so in the US, you can't get any of them. In the UK, you can get Ikora Ray and Zavala with collectors, or you can buy them separate. And in Australia, you can get Ikora Ray, Zavala, and Gaul. Okay, so are you trying to tell me that Australia is not bigger than the UK?
No, I'm just saying rather than just releasing them worldwide, they're picking markets. And because maybe they just like have family members that live in the UK or in Australia, so they pick those two markets. That's all I was saying.
I don't know. I just, like I say, I just think it's weird. I mean, the whole, not just with supply and demand of stuff like that. I mean, the whole thought process of starting the game up, at certain times in different parts of the world. We talked about that last week. Australia gets it first. Okay, so Australia gets it first to get the free first Gaul figure. I'm moving to Australia. That's what I'm saying.
But apparently they have
you won't want to go there once you realize how much a game costs.
Yeah, like twice as much, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you don't like bugs, I really wanted to move there. Australia seems like such a great place, filled with really great people. And then I looked up what their bugs looked like, and I'm never going there as far as I'm concerned.
90% of the stuff in Australia will kill you. So
right, absolutely. The bushes and the I don't know. It's just bad. It's just really bad there.
So a new promotional, apparently free Cade poster that's quite awesome has popped up at GameStop. Apparently, if you have a pre-order, you can just go ask them for one. Get them while supplies last. They just appeared earlier today. They're 39.5 inches by 26.5 inches, and it's Cade kind of lounging on some debris.
Sounds cool.
So that's about everything. The final. We did learn this week that some more details about the Pop-Tart promotion. That the Pop-Tart promotional codes will be 25% experience boost for 4 hours. You can redeem up to 5 receipts per day, and this starts with purchases made on September 1st.
Got it. Yeah, that doesn't really seem too great.
Well, we don't know how leveling is going to work in Destiny 2 yet. That's one thing the public does not yet know, how fast or...
you shoot things and you get XP.
So I think that these, I question how good the timing of a bonus like this is when you launch the raid in X number of days. Like, you start to push into questionable ground with me with a promotion like this when you set up a scenario like that.
Remember,
people are pressured to tie for world first, and
you only need probably around 3 Pop-Tarts, and you'll probably get to max level.
I'm definitely going to be getting Pop-Tarts.
Jez? Or do you have inside knowledge?
That's not inside knowledge, but the fact that each Pop-Tart gives you, each box of Pop-Tarts gives you 4 hours of XP boost, and that's 12 hours of grinding. If you don't get very close to level 20 in 12 hours of grinding with boosted XP, there's no way the raid's going to be that Friday.
I'm definitely buying Pop-Tarts. I was already going to buy Pop-Tarts, so I'll definitely use these things. 25% though, that seems a little low, but I'll take it. And really, if we were to look at the amount of time I spent leveling my characters in Destiny versus how many hours I've spent playing characters that were fully leveled in Destiny, it's basically a meaningless gesture to have leveling at all. I mean, it's basically just a trope in order to keep us out of certain areas for too long. Like it's I don't know. I wish I knew how many times I leveled up. I wish that there was a way of checking how many times I leveled up on each of my characters, because, it seems like I'd have like level 500 characters right now.
I'll tell you why leveling up is a thing in games. It's and it makes more sense for Destiny 1 than it does Destiny 2, because there's 2 blocks of talents in Destiny 2, but it's about getting each ability slowly so that you have time to play around with it before you move on to the next one.
I see what you're saying.
So, that's why in MMOs you start off with one ability, then another, then another, then another, then they start increasingly getting complex. But because you're slowly leveling, you're taking several hours to get used to each ability, you aren't overwhelmed with this giant bar of everything.
Are you getting Pop-Tarts, Jez?
Well, because I'm Canadian, the only time I can get Pop-Tarts is when I'm in Seattle. So I'll have to buy some then.
I think that you've got some teammates that might hook you up with that. Either on your special math class or Guardian 1. I'm certain somebody would hook you up with some. Gray, will you be buying Pop-Tarts?
Probably not.
So
they're really bad for you. They're just like straight sugar.
Are they going to take how much time are these people who are viewing these photographs of receipts taking to verify this information?
It's a good question.
It's probably
how many
a caption.
Millions of people on these waiting for these text messages to come in.
So then my question is, are they just going to censor you by your phone number? Like, if you have a Canadian phone number, they're not going to give you your code?
Well,
how are they going to modulate that? Would they just look at your receipt, you text them, and text you back a code?
Well, they could also base it off of, because receipts have the address of the store on them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. How much time? Somebody's going to sit there and okay, this guy says he bought it here. Let me see if this store is real. I'm going to check this.
They don't have to. They don't have to look at it, and they don't even have to look at it at all if they set up a automated system.
Right.
You can set it up to scan and look for keywords.
But that seems like a lot of money than just handing out codes for meaningless free copies of digital junk.
It would make more sense.
Number one,
I feel like someone's gonna be like, "That's a real receipt. It says Pop-Tarts. Code them.
Okay, so I really like your coding voice. That's pretty funny. I thought you were going to say like the idea that they would censor by phone number makes a lot more sense than anything else. I thought you were going to say, if you start sending in just pieces of paper with, I bought some Pop-Tarts with a smiley face, then they're going to block your number. Oh, this person's fooled us. Because seriously, there's going to be millions of people typing in these, sending in these images. Like, how are they going to verify all this?
You know what? Handwritten receipts are perfectly legitimate, though. Like, what if the power's down and I go to a mop shop and they give me a handwritten receipt from Pop-Tarts?
Oh, right.
I come from
are you buying Pop-Tarts,
Agrios? Town that has a mom and pop store that actually handwritten receipts. So, well, I'm losing connection.
It's not just you.
Are you buying Pop-Tarts, Agrios? Oh man,
I heard
I think
Agrios.
everyone's going. Yeah, are you buying Pop-Tarts, Agrios?
Yes.
Gray, you're not even going to buy a Pop-Tarts just to get that receipt. Like you don't have to eat them. You could give them out at Halloween or something. Like we're not.
Oh,
you don't have to eat them.
I get to be that guy in the neighborhood that gives out Pop-Tarts on Halloween.
I kind of assumed that you already were. I'm going back to his house.
You didn't think I was the? Oh, we don't go to that house. They give us toothpaste and toothbrushes for Halloween.
I guess you could be that guy, but I don't know. I guess I've just never had to rely on my snacks from you.
I think he's a raisin guy.
Box of raisins.
You think that Gray's a raisin guy? I don't know. I kind of feel like he's a whole size Snickers household.
Maybe his significant other makes candy apples. That seems something possible too.
Right? I don't know. I feel like Gray's the kind of guy who doesn't want eggs on his door and windows and teepee in his trees. I feel like the smart thing to do is at least give out the small Snickers. That's how I handle it. I don't want kids to be disappointed with those.
I scare the crap out of people. Like ever since I was a little kid, I scared the crap out of. My favorite thing as a little kid, when I was really young, I'd spend half the trick or treat time handing out treats so I could scare people, another half the time trick or treating. And my favorite thing was scaring the crap out of like groups of high schoolers coming to like get treats. That was one of my biggest thrills as a kid.
What about you, Sharks? Are you buying Pop-Tarts?
I don't know. I can't even find any damn Pop-Tarts. I can't find Pop-Tarts. I can't find any Rock Stars. Can't find any of that garbage that will kill me, drinking too much caffeine and eating too much sugar. I want to get some just because I want the XP to sit on my character and I never use it, but yeah, I want to buy some. Buy me some Pop-Tarts. I don't know
if I don't need it, I'm certain I'll use at least one, like the day of the raid, because I got something awesome that I want to use in the raid. So I'll use it then to get that ready for the raid. Like I'm certain I'll use at least one then.
I don't know. I am kind of anti-buying it though, because I'm like Gray. I don't like it. I mean, it's bad for you, and they don't even taste that good. I mean, I don't know if any of you
shut your mouth.
Any of you watch?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, shut your mouth.
No, seriously, did any of you guys watch the Dado Holtzman video where they paired Rockstar with Pop-Tarts? I mean, those two guys didn't look very impressed eating Pop-Tarts. I like Rockstar.
They also
wait a second.
They also did the stupidest thing and ate chocolate Pop-Tarts with
they did. They did a lot of stupid things.
What they did was crazy mad scientist experiments. Right now, you can purchase a Jolly Rancher watermelon Pop-Tarts, and that is the kind that I'm going to buy, and I'm going to eat those.
Gross.
It was so delicious. It was so delicious. Jolly Rancher watermelon, super delicious.
I want to go back to last week. Last week, Grey Ghost had the best idea ever on. I think it was on Grenades and Horseshoes, wasn't it? Or was it here? I'm pretty sure it was Grenades and Horseshoes, about pairing beer with Destiny. I don't know.
Yeah, if they had a promotion that was a Destiny themed beer, I'd be all over that.
Yeah, I'd be all over that. Dude, listen to Gray. That company up in Seattle.
I mean, I know it's T for team, and that makes it a little bit tough for them to, do any kind of partnership with an alcoholic beverage. But something that's not Pop-Tarts.
Too bad it would be an American
pencils,
beer, and American beer is bad.
I see those Jolly Rancher Pop-Tarts, and all I can think is Jolly Ranchers are hard candy. Is the middle of those hard candy? Like you bite into it and chip a tooth? Because that's what you deserve for buying those.
Oh man, that's what you deserve. That's hilarious.
It's flavor.
No,
make things with flavor.
It was delicious, and maybe that's just because I like eating things that are not good for me. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
There is, in fact, a Destiny IPA out there that has a big hops floating in the air where the Traveler would be in the front label of the image.
Interesting.
The downside is
that they just altered it enough that they could just get away with it. It's by I think it's by Destiny. Oh no, there's a different. It's by Fuggles and Warlock.
Yeah, Agrios. It's out of British Columbia, so they cannot distribute in the United States. I have looked into this to try to buy some. Jez, you're the only one who can get it. I don't know if they distribute to your area, but they're in British Columbia, so you got to drive up from Seattle to get some of it.
All right, we got short time now. Moving on.
That pretty much wraps everything up. The final trials was this past weekend. If you still have a ton of passage coins left, don't forget you can go to Brother Vance and trade them in for Motes of Light.
All right, what about the leaks?
We do have leaks. Are we going to talk about the leaks?
The rumor/leaks. I want to talk about it. We got 9 minutes left, I think.
Okay, potential Destiny 1 update.
Are you going to say it?
Oh, you're breaking up. I lost you guys. You all went screwy, and I lost my screen for a second. But apparently there is a new short mission or something going to be added to Destiny 1. There is a leak. It's unverified at the moment. That we may be getting a hype mission in Destiny 1 before Destiny 2 launches. The rumor has it that this will come approximately September 1st.
And this is all crazy. They're talking about an additional Sparrow. They're talking about an additional Ghost, both damaged. Two new missions. An epilogue for Destiny 1. Really, I would be happy with just that. The idea that they would wrap up Destiny 1 is a very smart idea. It's a very good idea. I feel like they have an opportunity here to kind of just cross the I's and dot the T's for everybody. And I would be happy with just that. Definitely, though, I definitely want to see more content before the game goes. But I'm pretty certain that they mentioned already that they're not going to have any more content for the game before the game wraps up. So,
well, no, they actually said there wouldn't be any more rebalancings and stuff. I don't think
that's true.
Specifically
no, they said this is the last content update for the game.
Is that how they phrased it?
Back when someone's like, oh, but they're doing another. And then they had to rephrase, no, that was the last content update for the game.
Yeah, I thought that's what I heard as well.
I have to go back and look up the exact phrasing on that because they like to be coy sometimes.
Right. And so I don't suppose this is true. I don't think that this is necessarily true, but I would love to see it. I will, the whole thing. Basically, every leak we've ever seen that's turned out true and has not turned out true has both sounded true. So, who even knows? What do you think, Jez? Did it sound real to you?
It does not, because in May of 2017, someone tweeted out from Activision, the free Destiny update mentioned in today's earnings call is a reference to Age of Triumph, the last content update for Destiny 1.
Well, I know, but they could be lying. That could have been a lie.
I don't think they would. I think they would want to hype it up. They wouldn't want to lie.
Well, also, I don't know if it's a lie so much as if it happened. Maybe something changed, right? They've had months since that earnings call that Maybe they wanted to give a little extra Easter egg to the end of Destiny 1, and that was something they decided after.
Don't you think 5 days is too short, though?
I do.
Yes.
I mean,
do
we did always get, like, the trailer and stuff would pop up in Destiny 1 a few days before the next thing would launch. I mean, for them to do something that would fit that schedule, for it to be a bonus mission wouldn't, but I mean, when you're closing out Destiny 1, that's a little bit more than just an expansion dropping, you know, so.
But don't you think whoever made this, and I'm betting it's fake, but if this is fake, don't you think they're betting on you taking that into account? Like, basically taking advantage of that content release that we've had so far?
Well, no, I can absolutely see that. And I'm not saying that makes me believe what is said specifically, more or less. But when you're asking me, do I think Bungie would do what is said? Yes, and that's part of my reasoning for that.
You know what, though? This would be a really good opportunity for them to bring in absolutely everybody who's still playing Destiny. Although it's difficult for me to imagine, it's not impossible to think that there's people out there who are playing Destiny who have no idea that Destiny 2 is coming. And so the idea that, 5 days before the game launches, here is this epilogue, video wrapping up Destiny 1 and leading into Destiny 2, it's basically, a great opportunity to bring in everybody who's playing it. Imagine somebody picked it up and they weren't sure about it and they don't keep up on video game news. Here is, in the director of this video game they're playing, advertisement for this next game that's coming out. It's not impossible to think. I mean, the idea that they would have a cracked and shorting out Ghost, that is so excellent. I want it. And then a Sparrow that, is billowing smoke. Like, that seems really cool too, but I don't know. I think
I'll have like 4 hours to play it before Destiny 2 launches.
I tried asking a few people I know whether the leak was authentic or not, and nobody I asked told me that it absolutely wasn't. I mean, no one confirmed it, but I didn't get any, this is absolutely not true from anybody.
Sharks, you don't look like you believe it.
Nope. Yeah, I'm still questionable too.
Spin foil, somebody's trying to hype up people. They do this all the time, every year, before releases. People get on and it's basically trolls.
But there has been an almost 100% accurate leak before almost every update. Like, somebody at Bungie's got a leaky mouth.
I doubt it. I doubt it very, very much that we're going to see missions. We may potentially see a trailer, because we all know that there is a trailer that's supposed to be dropping. I mean, Bungie basically said that. I mean, there's a lot of really famous people out there, video game wise, that have kind of like drop hints that there's going to be a live action trailer of Destiny 2. But anything else, I don't know. But I do have to say, we're talking about, it's only 5 days before the other game drops. I don't know. It's been kind of weird the way that they've been promoting things. So, I mean, as far as time-wise, I don't think that that's necessarily an answer to say, no, it's not going to happen because, look, there's only 5 days left. But at the same time, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. Not personally.
Gray?
I don't think we're going to see anything.
Jez?
I think it's taking advantage of people.
You think it's taking advantage of people?
Yeah, like taking advantage of people's hype. Because we mentioned a long time ago, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a send-off mission in Destiny 1 that led into Destiny 2? It's basically the exact same thing, except someone saying it is true. So I think it's just people trying to legitimize some guy for 5 minutes of fame.
Got it. I guess that makes sense. Okay. Last thing I wanted to mention before we get out of here is to Lay's You did a great job in that video that won movie of the week. I would not have been able to tell you if I did not know that was you. I would not have been able to tell you that was not the Nolan North. There's no way. You did an excellent job as the ghost. So congratulations to you. That was really excellent. Your first time trying to do voice acting, and I feel like you will just get offers now to be that voice. So I know that if I was doing something that required the ghost to talk, that I would definitely be calling you up. So that's it, Agrios. We're out of here.
Indeed.
Excellent. Well then, let's do shout outs, starting with Gray.
He was gonna pull an audible, and then he pulled it back. He didn't do
it.
My shout out goes to Blue and the crew. That's Blue Crew and the team over at Focused Fire Chat. They're working on a really cool lore segment to pair up with some great art for a future Grenades and Horseshoes, and I really appreciate them contributing their time and talent to that. So my shout out goes out to them, and tune in to a future week, and we're going to be showing some really cool stuff that they're creating.
Man, I cannot wait to see that. Sharks.
My shout out goes to Hedgemony. The reason I'm shouting him out is because he took the time to do an amazing Photoshop. It was an amazing Photoshop of me that will give me nightmares until I die. If you want to know what it is that he Photoshopped, you have to go on to my Twitter and look up the post that I had of my lithographs and my Exo watermelon in frames on my wall, and go through the comments and look for Hedgemony's comment with a picture. That's all I'm going to say, but shout out to him. He is the man, scary as it is.
You know, a lot of people were like, oh, he's really quick with this. Or no, it was Nerdy Girl. Nerdy Girl's like, you know, he's really quick with these. I feel like the quality with which he put that one together, he's been sitting on that one for a while and just waiting for the right moment to use it. I mean, it's not impossible to think that was off the cuff, but come on, like I had to not look at it 2 or 3 times to make sure that I was not looking at the real thing. Agrios.
My shout out this week goes to all of our friends who showed up in chat. I love the conversations you bring to the show. Thanks.
Excellent. I agree. Jez.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Shut up. My shout out this week goes to Brie Larson, who's pulling off a very good Captain Marvel. That's it.
Excellent. My shout out this week goes to Flounder, because I have not been doing a really great the last couple of months. Things have been really rough, and I'm annoying and I suck. So it's really excellent to have somebody who loves you so much, who is willing to take care of you and make sure that you feel loved and wanted around, especially when you're unable to contribute as much as I would like to or need to. So Flounder, this week, it is for you. I love you very much. Thank you very much. And that wraps up episode 145. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.